those things. So that's just something that's very useful in plotting, because in plotting, we like to use arrays and lists as our x values and y values. So Matplotlib.pyplot is a common plotting library for 2D graphics in Python. Some say like because of the mat, it's like supposed to mimic MATLAB. So the most common way to import Matplotlib.pyplot is as PLT, because it gets kind of annoying to write that whole thing all at once. And so then just to plot something, you just take your array of x values and y values where x values and y values are an array or list of numbers. So I think that's just gonna mess things up. Yeah, okay. So a couple of things to keep in mind is that you can plot it, but sometimes it won't show up depending on what certain IDEs or if you're using terminal. So you always want to show like, you always want to just put in a line show just to get the graph to pop up. There are different ways to plot. So you can either do like a scatter plot, pie chart, a histogram, which is like here. So it's like bar graph, this is histogram, scatter plot, and then this is just regular plot. And then IM show does like image show of data. So like, let's say you had like a CSV file or a matrix of like pixels. Obviously like plotting a line graph isn't what you want. You want it to kind of show the pixels. So that's what IM show does. And then you can do multiple plots. So even if you could put them all together. So you put your first x and y values and then your second x and y values, or you could do it on multiple lines. Like let's say you wanted to do like plt.plot x1, y1, and then do plt.plot x2, y2, and y2, and then when you run this, it'll show up on the same plot. But if you want different figures, you have to put plt.figure before each of them. And then you could do a subplot if you want to get something like this, that is from the Matplotlib documentation. So where you don't want them on the same figure, but you also don't want two figure windows, you kind of want them all in one image to showcase different data. So you can do based on like where you want it to be. So like the number of rows, number of columns, so like an index. There's things on the documentation that tell you what codes for like how it should view. And then these are like some formatting things that you can do. So you can add an X label, a Y-axis label, where you can change the font name, font size, however you'd like. Same with the label, and then with the title. So how these look is you just do plt x label, and then let's say like x-axis. If I can spell. All right, that's fine. So yeah, so you can do X label, Y label, and title like that. Same with line types, you can change that. So that's going to be done within your plotting. So you're going to want to, let's say this is going to be how your line's going to view. So let's say I wanted like a red line, and then I want it with line width, I want it to be like 2 or something. So then I could do it like that. But you don't have to put these necessarily within your plot. These are kind of optional arguments. And then same with the legend function, you can put your lines as a tuple with your labels as a tuple, and then your location can be like upper right, lower left, lower right, upper right, I believe. And something which is interesting about Python is that you can get like the current access. So that's what GCA is. So then you want to set that into a variable. As you can see here, we haven't been putting them into variables. But for current axis, you want to put that into a variable, and then you can manipulate that. So you want to like set the aspect equal to 0. So it's like a square graph. So you can do that. If you're interested in how to make prettier graphs and things like that, you can always look on the Matplotlib documentation. They also have different types of graphs and the code for that. So you could just use that and manipulate it so that your data fits into that.